And if you are locking properties up right now, I would be like your normal normal price point where you're getting them at. Just say you're getting them at an average of 100. Go lower. I mean, I'm looking back at the market pulse, and we're not even close to what it was in 2009, Jamel, but I'm still looking at comps from 2009, 2010 right now. These are my comps. I'm not looking at comps from last year. Like just happened. Last couple weeks, 3 weeks, give or take 2-3 weeks. I'm going back to 2009 and 2010 comps for today's properties.
Hey everybody, Jamel Gibbs here. Welcome to another podcast episode. And today we have a special guest, really good friend of mine. I've known him for multiple years, probably going on about 10 years now. I actually met him. We actually did a deal together in Virginia through one of my coaching students years ago. We're talking probably 2012, 8 to 10 years ago.
Yeah, wow.
And he was one of the guys that was out there doing the business back then, still doing the business today. But it was just kind of funny how we met. So let me tell you a little bit about it. So I was actually working with a student in the area of Virginia that he lived in at that time. And it was actually in Hampton Roads, I believe it was, right, Tone?
Yes, sir.
So, we had this deal. We had it on the contract for like $110,000. This guy comes around and says, I can sell it. And he sold it in like a day. It was crazy, man. So we ended up making some money, and that's how we met. I did see his stuff around before that for a short period of time, but I didn't really get a chance to know him until we broke bread together. So I thought that was pretty good. So that just goes to show you that Antonio Edwards is out there. He's doing deals, still doing deals today. You can see some of what he has going on his Instagram page. We'll talk about that later on today. But just a really, really genuine guy, great guy. I love the guy, love his family, and I love what he's doing in the real estate investing business. So I had to bring him on. Primarily because he's a good friend of mine, but in addition to that, he knows how to approach certain situations because he's been around the business long enough. So without further ado, let's welcome my good friend Antonio Edwards to the call. What's up, my man?
Hey, I'm good, man. Thank you for that generous introduction, man. I mean, likewise with yourself, definitely a good friend of mine. And you people watching this, you're following the right guy. He knows his stuff, and people he's bringing on, I know he's vetting as well. I've been listening to your podcast, Jamel. You got some real solid people that's doing deals in today's market, not just teaching it. They're really doing deals. So I appreciate you having me on your podcast episode today.
I appreciate that, man. I'm trying to keep it as high of a caliber of a podcast as possible, and just really bring on people who are actually doing the business and not just talking about it. And that's primarily the reason why you're on this call, right? Because you're an action taker, just like, a lot of other guys out there who are actually making money and know how to approach the business. And you're not a fly by night guy. There's a lot of guys out there, I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot, but, they might come in, make some money and then leave, but you have that longevity, obviously, in the business. So just says a lot about you, man. So why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the real estate business?
All right. I'm going to make a long story short here because I know people want to get to the meat of everything. But pretty much I came, this is crazy. I came into business in 2009. And you know the story, Jamel. That time frame was the crash. It was pretty much a no man's land. It was, as a newbie at that time, I was scooping deals off the MLS. Fast forward to today, people try to find a deal and try to wholesale a deal off the MLS is pretty much almost impossible.
Yeah.
But I was the bandit sign king in my market. 2009, I was putting out 100 bandit signs a week. Yes, every single week by myself. Did not pick them up on weekends. I didn't care about it. I was just kept my head looking over my shoulders for the sign police, and bandit signs and REOs were my lead generation. That was my go-to for doing deals. I was averaging 2 deals on an average every single month. Maybe one or twice within that first year. I maybe did 3 deals. My first year, I did 26 deals, wholesale deals, from wholesaling REOs. I wasn't assigning REOs, but I was still wholesaling REOs, basically doing double closings with those and using my end buyers' cash to close my REOs. And then I was doing deals off bandit signs as well. My first deal was $12,500. I came from the music business, so I already had the grind. I had the hustle from being in the studio making beats for artists, freaking literally like 14 hours a day. Like people who understand the studio world and the music world knows that you're in the studio all day, every day. Right now, we're in the quarantine. We're quarantined in right now. Artists, producers, they're always quarantined. You know what I mean? They're always in the studio. You're in the studio all day, every night. So I didn't get no sleep. So when I transitioned from the music and got into the real estate game in 2009, all I knew was grind. And when I met a mentor of mine at the time who did the 50 Cent single, I don't know if you remember that single, Wangsta. Remember that track? He produced that track, Chris Haskins. That's how we connected through the music. So he left the music business, right, and went into the real estate game. And he showed me basically like a nice fat check. And I was like, damn, how the hell you do that? Like, it's like there's no money, no credit. And I'm thinking, you know, just a normal background I come from. I'm thinking it's like, damn, that seems too good to be true. Seemed like a scam, but I kind of related to him based off this music thing, and we instantly connected. And he put me on his wing. He put me onto the whole bandit sign game, which everybody should know what a bandit sign is. It's pretty much a core plastic sign you see on the side of the streets. You know, we buy junk cars, we buy houses. Put out my first set of 100. Scored my first deal for $12,500, and that was a crack house, Jamel. My first deal was a crack house. I'm going there with the guy Chris, and I'm super wet behind the ears. I don't know what the hell a distressed property, what a deal is, and we're going in. It's one sober brother and 4 crackhead brothers. The 4 crackhead brothers was living in the house. The one sober one had a power of attorney over everybody, so he had the power to sign over it and sell the property. And we're walking in this house, man, 721 Potter Road, I think it's in Chesapeake. No electric, no water. The ceiling was like leaking. And I'm like, man, like, I'm just remembering like, man, who would want to buy a house like this? Because I'm new to the game. Never done a deal yet. And I remember Chris, he was like, I smell money in here, man. I smell money. I'm like, what? I'm like, whoa. So make a long story short, we there with the seller, and he goes into the worst part of the house. And I didn't know this till later on, and I didn't catch on to this till later on, but it's a good negotiation tactic for people, you know, watching this or listening to this. He goes into the worst part of the house to negotiate the deal. All right. And I remember that we signed it. He said, he was like, so what's the best you could do on this? And he looked up at the ceiling. So what's the best you could do with this skin? And he was like, well, I can come down to 65,000, and then end up, we got this thing on the contract. And I'm quickly experiencing, I'm like, wow, so we just go write up a contract? I didn't know we could just do that.
So he went to the worst part of the house. That's a killer negotiation tactic, by the way. If you guys didn't pick that up, went to the worst part of the house. Right after he went outside, you guys signed the contract up. He called the buyer up right away and sold it in a couple of hours. You know, that obviously put that bug in you, and you kind of saw how real it was. So right off the bat, you had a mentor. You had somebody show you how to get this done. So that's the importance. That's the importance of having somebody show you how to get it done the right way as well. You know, I had somebody. It took me about 5 years before I got my first mentor, and now, you know, I was doing okay before that, but my business really scaled after I had somebody show me how to do it the right way. So obviously, we're in the midst of a market transition at this point. You know, things are changing, and because of that, a lot of investors are 50-50. The business is 50-50 for a lot of people who are newer in the business. They don't have that experience. But in addition to that, you know, the guys who do have the experience are really coming out and sharing what it is that they know. at this point. So, you know, we'll talk about that in just a moment. So where do you see, how does your business look today?
Just as of late, Jamel, within the past week, we had to reinvent the business model here just because of this coronavirus. I know when a lot of people are working from home where they have an office they usually drive to every day, or some people just lost their business. They went out of business or got laid off. So it is a tough time right now. But as far as me, I'm so fortunate to have been in a real estate market during the crash in 2009. And I remember, I look back when I was maybe 2011, 2012, I think I bought my first rental property in 2013. And I used to look back like, man, if I would have kept some of those properties during the crash, and you know what I'm getting to, Jamel, but I was flipping so many deals, so many. 26 my first deal, maybe my second year, I think I did maybe 50 or something. And I was just flipping wholesale. And I did a couple rehabs within those times. And 2011, I was doing half rehabs, half wholesales. And I was keeping none. I was not keeping any of those properties, man. I was contracting properties for $10,000, wholesaling for 20, make a 10,000 spread, $20,000, wholesaling for 35, make a $15,000 spread. And those are the ones I should have kept in those times. Fast forward today, I projected, and I know you projected too, Jamel, that we were going to have a downturn coming. We didn't know it was going to come this fast in this type of situation, this manner. I was thinking that maybe the next year and a half, 2 years, give or take, projection. But right now we're almost halfway through the year of 2020, of getting halfway through, and out of nowhere, this whole virus came. People are losing their jobs, man. I'm We're in a situation right now where you should be really checking in with your team on a daily basis. More so when you do it, I don't know how often people check in with the team, once a week, bi-weekly, once a month, but check in on your team on a daily. I mean, I'm constantly talking with vice president of local banks. Okay, how's the situation? Everybody's good at the bank, still lending, you know. I'm texting buyers, my buyer friends that I'm really cool with off the business side of it, that buy properties from me at the same time, or we do deals together. I mean, half of the buyers is like, man, we're shut down, Antonio. One of my buyers this morning, you know him as well, Jamel. He was like, hey, I'm shut down. I'm shutting down all my marketing for April, possibly for May.
Wow.
We're not buying any rental properties. He's a rental property buyer, landlord buyer. And we have 3 deals that we have already had under contract, whether we're going to keep one for ourselves, we're going to wholesale 2. And then after that, that's it. I'm like, whoa, like really? Text one of my buyers was 3 days ago. And I've been doing deals with her since 2010, super well off. She owns franchises, owns 12 great clips, salons, does probably about 30, 40 real estate deals a year. I text her like, hey, so tell me are you still buying some properties right now? I'm checking in with the team, the people I do business and make money with. Unfortunately, thank you for checking in with me, Antonio, but we're shutting down. It's a sad time for me. We're closing all 12 of our retail shops. I just had to lay off 100-ish employees. I mean, this was like a shock to me to hear from this type of person, this person. And like this getting real every single day.
It is.
So you have to really take this serious. I emailed a transactional lender yesterday, and he was saying, I was like, hey, so how's business because I feel like as this transactional lender, he deals with nothing but a lot of investors around the country, because he's always doing transaction funding with me. He's like, Antonio, it's been very slow, and then anybody who's still doing business in this time, he's in his words, he think they're fools. He think we're fools. Me personally, we're still in business. However, we're cutting back on some of the marketing. I'm very cautious on the deals that I'm contracting, like very cautious. And if you are locking properties up right now, I would be like your normal asking your normal price point where you're getting them at. Just say you're getting them at an average of 100. Go lower. I mean, just I'm looking back at the market pulse, and we're not even close to what it was in 2009, Jamel. But I'm still looking at comps from 2009, 2010 right now. These are my comps. I'm not looking at comps from last year. Like just happened. You know, last couple weeks, 3 weeks, give or take 2-3 weeks. I'm going back to 2009 and 2000 comps for today's properties.
That's really important, man. That's a key nugget right there. If you guys didn't pick it up, look at comps from the previous recession to see where properties could potentially be heading today. Really, really important for you guys to really understand that. I know it's been 10 years since the last comps were pulled on, from a recession, but you're not looking at it for recent comps. You're looking at it to see where the property ended up before, and that's going to tell you where the property can potentially end up today. Really, really important nugget there that Antonio just dropped on you. Another thing he mentioned, he said a lot of different things that we picked up on over the past couple of minutes. So, when you think about, the state of the economy right now and the mindset of the average person that's in the real estate investing business or in business in general, businesses are suffering all over the place, right? So he just said someone who was a transaction lender told him that he was a fool for being in business. Now, it really all depends on how you look at it, and it depends on how strong you are in business as well. But as far as increasing or decreasing marketing, I'm hearing a lot of guys who came into the business probably within the last 5 years telling their students to double down on the marketing, and they're considered to be veteran real estate investors. Personally, I think that, and I'm not trying to take anything away from anybody, but I personally think that's a foolish thing. That's stupid, because why would you double down on a marketing that's continuing to dip at this point? Basically, and this is from me looking at the mistakes that I made back in 2007 leading into the last recession. If you double down on your marketing right now, what's going to happen is, as the market continues to dip, Antonio just proved, buyers are pulling out, businesses are, going under, people are losing their jobs. So the liquidity is going to be a big issue. People's liquidity. Bank financing is going to be a big issue. So are your buyers, if they're not true cash buyers, most buyers are not, they're going to the hard money lender or to the bank to get the money. So if that's the case, that's gonna drastically affect the amount of buyers that are available in the market. If you look at just the economy, the stock market, the economy in general, this is not the same type of market as it was 10 years ago. No. We're not there yet. And this is a different type of situation too. Yeah. So with buyers, backing out of deals, I don't know if you experienced that over the past couple of weeks, but buyers are backing out of deals right now because of liquidity issues. People are holding tight on to their money. I know me as a host on my wholesale business, we're making even lower offers than we were before. We're renegotiating contracts at this point. And we're also extending contracts at this point. For sure. So we're definitely signing agreements where, I just did a video on it on YouTube where, contract extensions, you definitely need to do that at this point. But Antonio mentioned that, people are, he's lowering his marketing budget at this point. That's the smartest thing you could do. So how do you get around that? You use the leads that you have and just follow up with them. Maybe you go more guerrilla marketing style as far as, or old school marketing rather, as far as cold calling and things like that. But you're not necessarily spending the money; you're spending more time at that point. But what are you doing right now to combat that marketing situation and still find leads and be able to get those leads at a deeply discounted price?
Yeah. So basically what we're doing, we're taking all our hot leads, our midterm, short-term, and long-term leads, putting them all together, or we're reactivating those leads into text blasts. We're using texting campaigns that were freaking 3 cents a text.
Yeah.
It's one of the sexiest ways in today's current market. Now, I can't say this is going to be current in a year from now, 2 years, because a lot of people are using it more and more every day. And some people say it's not compliant, some people say it is compliant. So it's still a good lead generation tool, but we're reactivating all our follow-up leads. Most people that said no, take me the F off your list, stop calling me, stop texting me, boom, boom, boom. We're putting them back into textmagic.com and reactivating the campaign. However, we're changing our message to groom what we're all going
right now.
So we're not just saying, hey, my name is Antonio, I'd like to buy your house at 123 Main Street. And we're kind of like ignoring what's going on. We're building rapport based off what's going on. And we're like, hey, this is Antonio here. I understand that we're all going through this situation with the coronavirus. I hope you and your family are all well. Hope you're staying healthy. This is such an unfortunate situation that we're in. If you happen to need to sell your property on 123 Main Street, we are here. We're still in business. Please contact us back. So something along those lines. And we're having the highest contact rate right now.
Yeah.
Ever in my real estate history.
Well, people are home right now, and I love the fact, because that was another thing. I just did a video about a week ago talking about, number one, not doubling down on your ad spend on your marketing budget, but doubling down on the relationship building process with the motivated seller. So continue to follow up and change your message. Be more sincere in your message. So I love the fact that you said that, because even a message that you just put out there that you just mentioned a minute ago, that was it was a sincere approach to, to what's happening in the market right now. So that was really good, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we're doing too, and last week when I came, because I was on basically a 10-day trip during the whole crisis. I flew to LA, went from LA, did a road trip from LA to Arizona.
You did a road trip?
From LA to Arizona it's only a 5-hour drive.
Yeah.
So we flew from Orlando to LA. Then we drove from LA to Arizona, and we flew from Arizona back to Orlando. But I was all within that. That was a 10-day trip. So I got back 8 days ago from today. So when we got back, I had to go through the round table. I had a staff meeting with my team, and we was like, okay, we're gonna have to reinvent the model of what's happening today. Because we was nervous. We was in LA, like, freak, we're all gonna get stuck here. Yeah. So that 5-hour drive from LA to Arizona ended up being an 11-hour drive, Jamel. It's usually a 5-hour max to drive, usually. Because I think a lot of people were skipping the whole LAX airport and just driving. I mean, just from LA to San Bernardino was like 3.5 hours, whereas like less than an hour, man. It was crazy. My girl, my wifey, she's 8 months pregnant as of today.
Congrats, man.
Line, so we were like, man, like we get stuck here, we're gonna be screwed. But we made it back. Had a staff meeting last Monday, 8 days ago, and with that being said, we had to reinvent everything from like I said earlier, from turning down the marketing a little bit, just reactivating with the follow-ups, changing our messaging that goes out, even from the cold call. We're same with the text, and we're grooming that same message we do in text. We're doing with the cold calls, with the follow-ups as well. And the RVMs, the same thing. We're hitting the voicemails with the same similar message. And when we get them on the phone, because we all know people are very reluctant to touching you, seeing you face to face. Yeah. So what we're doing now, and this is not with we haven't found this with everybody, because we do have an appointment tomorrow. My acquisitions guy with for 2 properties, which they seem promising. But with a few of the people since last Monday, we've been doing appointments via FaceTime. So we'll set up a FaceTime, or we'll send them a Zoom link. That way we can record the Zoom, and that'll be basically our virtual appointment, and we can base our off what we see on video. So we've done a couple, actually like 3 like that already since last Monday, because sellers are like, hey, I want to sell, but they're making up, not saying making up a story, which is true, the truth with the saying, but like we don't, because of the situation, we have to stay 6 feet away. We want to let anybody in our house because of the virus. But okay, well, Mr. Seller, we still would like to buy your property. However, we can maybe set up a time. We can send you a simple Zoom link, or we can, FaceTime you if you have a smartphone, where you can just virtually show us the property and we can make you a fair cash offer like that. And I mean, it's been working so far.
That's excellent. And you know what? A lot of people, I'm not trying to make light of what's happening in the marketplace or to people at this point, because people are really getting sick and losing their lives.
Yes.
But in regards to real estate investing, this is an opportunity. This is an opportune time for people to really force themselves to become virtual wholesalers or virtual real estate investors. A lot of people, if you're forced into the situation, if you were overthinking it before, you really don't have a choice at this point. So take advantage of the opportunity to learn how to do virtual investing at this point.
For sure. And being that the business that we're in, and you and I, Jamel, we have similar models. I mean, we technically don't have to go to every house. We can make sight unseen offers, and we can make comps off the MLS or whatever online tool you're using for comps. And we can go, okay, these properties are being sold between 1 to 110. Recession era, I'm like, okay, back then they were buying them for 50 to 60. So should I, offer 50 to 60? Possibly. Right. And and this is still new to us. So we're still in this whole bubble of uncertainty. We don't know. It's not enough data. It's not enough. Right. It hasn't been around long enough. Now, 60 to 90 days from now, maybe before that time, but I would say 60 to 90 days, it's going to get really real out here for people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to get real out here, Jamel. And I check in with the team. I hit up one of my mentors and really good friend of mine, you know who he is too. And I was like, hey man, so are you buying these slow flips? He said, not right now, but pretty soon I'll be buying these slow flips at 10K a pop.
Ooh,
He's been in So that, I'm just like, whoa, that was like, wow. Like you can, and it's kind of funny because you look at it, like we all have these short-term, long-term goals. Some people's long-term goals up maybe a year or 5 years. I don't go 5 years out, but I go a year out to plan out a year. But now I have to refine my year planning for 3 months, which is 3 months is long-term right now. This is just like, because we don't know. So I refine my 90-day plan, my year to a 90-day plan now, that's my long-term plan is 90 days out from now.
Yeah, man. So obviously, we both know the slow flip model. We know virtual wholesaling. We're using inexpensive methods to continue to, for example, you're using text messaging. So am I. I still have my cold callers out there making calls, but I started running more Facebook ads lately as well.
I'm bringing it up too.
I'm paying like $18 a lead right now, which is fantastic. The normal is like $34. So I'm like literally like 50% off of the lead spend, which is fantastic, man. So the reason why I like Facebook is because it's an attractive, it's called attraction marketing, where you're not necessarily reaching out, but they're reaching out to you because they know that they have a property for sale. And you got the seller that said, maybe 3 weeks ago, I want $100,000. And now that the market drastically changed overnight, they can't get the 100,000 anymore. Guess who's following up with them? We're going to get it at a lower price, so a lot of things happening right now. So how what's your thoughts on the buyer situation at this point? So we might be able to get houses under contract, but who are we going to sell them to at this point? Are you still seeing buyer activity out there?
Like you said earlier, Jamel, it's like a 50-50. You text. Well, I'm checking in with the team daily. I keep going back with that because things change. It's changing on a daily. Every day, it's different news, more fear for some people. I'm not scared, to be honest with you. I was in the game in 2009. Maybe if I was in the game in 2016, like so many newbies, like they're just throwing darts out there in the last 3 years, 4 years, people just been scoring out of nowhere $40,000, $50,000 assignment fees.
Lucky,
now it's gonna get back to the basics, to the principles, running the business. To answer your question, Jamel, about the buyers, it was very little buyers in 2000, very little buyers in 2000. And me not focusing on the negative, because I was in a whole situation I didn't know what I didn't know at 2009. So maybe that probably helped me out. I was fresh, I was excited. I wasn't hit with the bubble. I didn't lose, millions of dollars. I didn't lose my assets. I didn't get stuck with these loans. I came in 2009. Yeah, 2007. Yeah, so
I got hit, man. I mean, I've been around since 2002.
Yeah,
but I made a lot of money between 02 and 07. Come 08, man, I had so many loans out because I was doing they call it the BRRRR strategy now, but it was buy fix rehab, buy fix rent and then refinance.
Fancy word, refinance on your property. That's fancy.
Yeah, somebody came up with, I don't know who came up with the BRRRR strategy, but that was real popular over the last couple of years, like it was brand new, but we've been doing that forever. But I got caught out there with a bunch of private money, man, and it hit me hard, man. So
I guarantee this go around, you're ready, you're locked in.
Yeah, ready, man. I know exactly how to adjust.
Right.
And I don't have any capital out there, right? Everything I do is creative or wholesaling.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what people want to be doing right now, man. And that's kind of the way I built my business. I stopped rehabbing like 2 years ago because I knew a market shift was going to come. I stopped building new construction last year.